Kwab, it was leaked that under no circumstance will the Grizzlies re-sign Dillon Brooks. So I must ask you, that begs the question, what is the one thing you wouldn't do under any circumstance?
Under no circumstance would I sign Dillon Brooks to the Nets. My team, the Nets. I wouldn't
Your
want him.
team. Out of
wouldn't
all
want
the
him
things in the
nearby.
world that you would do under no circumstance, that's the one thing you can come up with.
Yeah, that's the first that pops in my mind. I'm actually the wording of that. I know this came out a couple days ago, but the wording of that is still crazy to me. Like, I don't understand. Like, that's a wild. I've heard like, okay, real quick.
Okay, let's do it.
Free agency is until June.
The playoffs aren't even over. We're not getting past the second round.
I'm saying, like, and this comes out now.
Yeah, no, immediately.
Immediately,
It was
like,
immediately like, oh, we just got eliminated. We need the world to know.
So I'm like, I think it looks bad on the Grizzlies because it looks like they're scapegoating him.
Yeah, which they are. Which everybody is, to be fair.
True, very true. But he made these comments that would kind of put a target on his back. And like we said before, in a series that had some of the top stars in the league, we were all talking about Dillon Brooks versus LeBron. Like that's not a actual. If you think about that matchup, like the Dillon Brooks LeBron matchup, like
who's gonna win? Who will be the better man in that matchup?
I saw that he wanted a bigger role other than the 3-and-D role. And then right. I guess the contract issue was another issue. So yeah, I hope he finds his footing. I don't think he should be out of the league. I still think he's an NBA player. He's kind of crazy. So
a little crazy.
I don't want him on the team I root for. I think he would look good in the Knicks jersey, personally.
All right, we need to stop. All right, let's start the show. We're gonna start the show.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh Rodriguez, your weekly go-to podcast for all things NBA. And now, your host, Josh Rodriguez.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime, presented by the Ballislife Podcast Network. The Warriors tie up the series with the Lakers at 1 apiece. The Celtics get their revenge on the Sixers. The Nuggets look to go up 3-0 against the Suns. And can the Knicks go into Miami to defeat the Heat? Kwab and I discuss all that on this episode of The Dime. But first, if you want to follow Dime, you can on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He is Kwab at Kwab, a.k.a. Yes. You can catch all episodes on YouTube on the Balls Life Podcast Network. Just type in Balls Life Podcast Network, and we will show up. And you could also type in The Dime with Josh Rodriguez or The Dime and with Josh and Kwab. I did change it to The Dime with Josh and Kwab on YouTube. We do have our own YouTube channel posting the highlights of the show, not the whole episode, but the highlights of the show. Kwab, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm chilling, man. The past 2 playoff games have been snoozes, so
yeah. Kwab and I woke up from naps to do this for you. You ready to do this?
I guess.
I guess we'll just get this out the way. All right, here we go. We'll start with the game that just ended. The Warriors blow out the Lakers. Series is tied now 1 game apiece. Kwab, first impressions. I'll go first. Let me go first. Steve Kerr made the adjustment of putting the ball in Steph Curry's hands. He didn't have a huge stat line, but I think he played really well, had a lot of assists, floor opened up, made the adjustments, starting JaMychal Green, which I find interesting. I also find it interesting that Kevon Looney didn't feel well enough to start, but felt well enough to play. Like, what's the difference? If you're playing, you're playing.
They said a report came out. He said that I guess the medical team said he would only be able to play about like 20 minutes or so. So because of that, he didn't want to start him. He just wanted him off the bench so he could use him
to stagger. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. And Klay had a Klay game. He had 8 threes. The Warriors just looked like the better team. Anthony Davis returned from stealing the soul of, I don't know, of a former NBA great. Anthony Davis is a monster. I think that's what it is. He steals the soul of an NBA player. He becomes a monster for a game, but then he returns to regular form a game after. Then he has to find another NBA all-star to steal their soul from. That's what Anthony Davis is. For those of you who haven't watched Space Jam, go watch it. That's exactly what I'm referring to. LeBron had a nice first half, but it wasn't enough. Rui Hachimura, another nice game. He's looking like a great pickup, but again, the Lakers get blown out. Great adjustments by Kerr. My analysis here is like, I'm waiting to see what Darvin Ham's going to do. You have to figure out a way to stop that Steph and Curry pick and roll. What are you going to do? You can't trap it. If you trap the pick and roll with Steph, he's just going to find the guy who's open, and then you're leaving Draymond Green with a 4-on-3. You're leaving Klay Thompson with a spot up 3. So I don't think you can do that. Can you switch everything? Can you do drop coverage, which I'm not a fan of either against Steph Curry because it's Steph Curry. So I understand drop coverages are meant to like force you into difficult jump shots, but I'm not comfortable forcing a difficult jump shot to the greatest shooter of all time. I'm not going to take my chances there. So I'm interested to see what Darvin Ham does with that adjustment, because to me, that's going to decide the whole series. Kerr made his adjustment. Darvin Ham, it's your time to step up. Kwab, what did you think of the game?
That's a good call by you. Just felt like Darvin Ham and the Lakers weren't ready for the game plan the Golden State Warriors had. And we all watched the end of the first game 1, and we expected this to be the game plan.
Right,
So
exactly.
I was kind of confused why it felt like the Lakers weren't ready for the game plan. I guess the Jermichael Green started and kind of threw them off because there was more space on the floor for the Warriors to operate. I expected the Warriors to win this game. After last game, I just expected them to shoot better and all that. I didn't expect to see Tristan Thompson on the floor. That was something.
The man was in the ESPN studios 4 weeks ago analyzing games in a suit.
His suit talking about, hey, LeBron, let's run it back.
Yeah. Hey, Tristan Thompson makes another appearance in the playoffs. Good for him.
Yeah. Basically, I think he got a couple of buckets, so that was good for him. Like you said, they need to find a way, I guess, to get AD more involved. It felt like he was getting shots this game, but he missed a couple of shots that he hit last game. But it just felt like he wasn't involved in the game at all when I was watching it.
You forgot he was on the court sometimes.
Exactly, which is like
weird because you're the biggest guy on the court. I should never forget that you're on the court.
And I get that the Warriors decided to be like more physical with him, but it just felt like I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it just felt like there weren't a lot of plays that were ran for him. Yeah. And if they were, like, I remember I think there was one play where he posted up Draymond and Draymond got a strip. So apart from that, I felt like they should have ran more plays for AD just to get him going, because you're gonna need him, not at the caliber of like 30 and 20, but at least like a 20 and 10, 25 or something game. Like, they need his consistent offense in order to have a chance against this team. They also need to try to get to the free throw line more. The Warriors did a good job limiting that this game. In addition to that, when the Warriors are hitting shots, like when Klay is going off, and even Curry was playing more for a point guard role, was facilitating. But when you have those two going off, they're, like we always say, the Warriors are hard to beat. It's just hard. It's just, you got to figure out something hard to beat. So moving forward, I want to see what the adjustment is. This is why I couldn't call the series when you hit me up early. It's like, oh, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we're supposed to make predictions. People listen to us because they want to hear our opinions.
They don't. They don't.
Yes, there are people out there who listen to the Dime like, well, Kwab said that the Lakers are going to win in 6, so I'm more likely to believe it now.
They don't want to hear my predictions. My predictions are off the wall, bro. They don't want to hear
I don't think anyone wants to hear our predictions. I don't even think people who listen to us don't want to hear our predictions. They just want to hear us banter.
Yeah, they really want to hear my real predictions. You've seen my real predictions. They're off the wall, so.
No, I'm with you, man. You got to get AD involved. It's interesting when you have the 4-guard lineup or 4-perimeter lineup. You don't have Looney and Draymond out there at the same time. AD is one of the best rim protectors in the league. He's one of the best defenders in the league, but it's like you're defending the paint. So it's like, all right, well, if we're not going into the paint at this rate, and if we are going to the paint, it's more trying to just to drive and kick. What effect does AD really have on your defense, So to me, Steve Kerr, he made the adjustment, and in these series, it's about adjustments. In these series, it's about what your coach notices that the other team is doing and how he counters that. Darvin Ham has been ripped by Laker fans all year. This is Darvin Ham's time to shut up Laker fans. Can he do it? I have no idea if he can do it. I'm anxious to see what type of adjustments he's going to make in game 3, because adjustments are going to be made or going to need to be made for the Steph Curry pick and roll. It would baffle me if they just do the same thing. Absolutely baffle me. kind of in the sense where it's like, we'll just roll this option because there's just no way.
That would baffle me, but part of me feels like I wouldn't be so shocked if they went out there and were like, "Yeah, let's try to do the same thing over again," because
There's no way Darvin Ham makes 0 adjustments. None.
none.
He has to. He
He has
has
to. Of course. Of course. If you guys can't tell by my tone, I'm being hella sarcastic. Yeah. He has to make the adjustments.
Yeah. I mean, there's also things like the Warriors were getting out on the break, even off of made baskets. They were making a point to run the ball. The Lakers tried to run as well because they are a good transition team as well. So it's kind of like, well, we do it well. Why should we stop doing it? But I think you can make the case where it's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should kind of turn this into a grinded out defensive battle, low scoring, or try to keep it as low scoring as possible. Because once the Warriors get rolling like that and it turns into a 3-point shootout, you're not going to beat them. And that's what happened today. The Lakers were keeping up early. They weren't shooting free throws, but they were hitting threes in the first half. And that's why it was kind of close. Then after that, it just went all downhill.
Trying to slow it down is always tough because, like, possessions matter so much in the playoffs. And now you have to value, slowing down the clock, you have to value every single possession. That puts a lot of pressure on the players. One thing I'll say is also very impressive that the Warriors blew out the Lakers with Jordan Poole playing like he was on the Lakers. He was wild.
He's doing his best. He's doing his best.
He was wild in this game, bro. Shout out to Moses Moody though. He showed up. Big fan of him.
And JaMychal Green showed up. So shout out to JaMychal Green and shout out to Steve Kerr for starting him.
Yeah,
Steve Kerr pushed the right button. He did. I mean, he's getting a little bit of grief for not playing Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga's been kind of on the bench.
I keep hearing that, right? And the thing about Jonathan Kuminga is like every time I watch him, he either looks like a future all-star or a G League player. There's like no in between with the kid. And that's also because he's young. So you're gonna be inconsistent. So a lot of times it's hard for them. You could tell like the coaching staff they have an issue like trusting him at times.
Yeah.
Because there are times he plays phenomenal, and then there are times you're like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And if you want to be I think that's the problem they ran with having him and also having Wiseman. And then you want to counter that. You want to put him on the floor at the same time as your favorite player, Jordan Poole.
Love him. Love him.
That's madness. It could be madness. It could look great. Yeah, it looks great. Some possessions you're like, oh, that's amazing, and it looks like complete chaos sometimes. Also,
if this is your first episode of The Dime, I don't love Jordan Poole. Just so you know, do not love him at all. All right, Kwab, let's move on to the games that are going on tonight. Let's start with the Celtics Sixers. The Celtics in game 2, just like the Warriors, blew the doors off the Sixers. And this is with Joel Embiid returning, who I don't think looked good. I think you can make the argument that it was good, though, in the sense where it's like, let's get the rust from Joel out in game 2 where we were trying to steal. We weren't expecting to win. Whereas game 3 is a game where you're expecting to win. You're expecting to hold home court here. Maybe the rust is gone. So I guess that's a good thing, maybe, but what did you see from the Celtics that you liked in game 2? And do you think that this series is kind of like, did they turn this series on its head with a blowout victory in game 2?
This was more of what I expected the Celtics to play like, especially with Joel back, because they're more equipped to play with Joel on the floor, with Horford, with Williams, with the size they have, and with the wings they have. Talk like how we talked about with the previous segment. It comes down to adjustments,
right?
And the Sixers have a coach who is known very well as making all the adjustments. So I think
all of them.
I had the Celtics winning the series.
You did. You actually chose this one, so that shows you how confident Kwab was that the Celtics were winning the series because he made a prediction.
Yeah, and if you know me personally, people who know me personally know how I feel about Boston in general. So for me to say that,
ditto.
Yeah, they blew him out by how much? With Jason Tatum didn't even have a good game from what I recall. Like
he didn't even have a good game. And by the way, Jason Tatum, stop bumping refs. Can you please?
No, refs stop. No, the refs need to stop touching him. Stop touching the man, bro. Like
you're blaming the refs.
He was like, "Yo, get off me! Stop touching me! This is like."
Is that why he's not getting calls? Because the refs are making first contact, debating him?
Look, people keep putting up the highlight like, "Oh, why is he allowed to get with this?" The ref has 2 hands on his waist, like he's trying to slow dance. He's like, "Nah, man, I'm trying to ball. Like, don't touch me." Like, don't touch me, brother. Like, I'm cool. Like, get off me. It's cool.
Well, the first one, because there's been 2 incidents now. The first one, he got up and he pushed the ref out the way.
No, the first one, the ref had hands on him too. Go back and
Are
look
you
at it.
serious? Are you
I'm
sure?
telling you, they're trying to slow dance with the man, bro. They're trying to slow dance with Jason. It was like, don't touch me, bro.
Okay,
I get
never
that.
mind.
Don't
All
touch
right.
me.
I
Don't
might
touch
be
me.
wrong about that. All right. All right.
I feel like, oh my God, he should get kicked out. I'm like, all right, relax. Everybody just calm down. Also, the other takeaway from the game, I know that Embiid is coming back from an injury. So like you said, he's knocking off the rust. For the love of God, please stop falling, brother. Like, I'm just,
Yo,
dog, there was one, yo,
he's like a newborn, bro. He's like if a woman gave birth and stuck her newborn baby out on the middle of an NBA court.
I
And the
understand
thing's
that.
just trying to crawl and walk.
just trying to
Wild,
learn.
bro. Just falling over every time it gets up.
I understand the reasoning behind it because it's better for him to do that than brace. Like there's, I've read.
Hold on.
No, wait, no.
Okay,
Hold on.
okay,
I just
okay.
let me say this real quick. Like I read the explanation. I've seen people put it up like, oh, this is the reason why he does this. Fine. Every time he does that, ends up being a foul call when somebody like slightly touches him. So I'm like, bro, it's either like he gets like if he's actually taking a lot of contact and falling down, it's one thing.
Right.
But then it's like a slight touch and this man just topples over and the refs they have to call the foul or it's a travel.
Right. They have to call something. Well,
They have
it's a
to call
travel.
something. Then they can't call travel because
Yes,
there was
you can. Just do this.
Because there was slight just do this.
Just travel. We're going this way.
Because there was slight contact. They have to. But
it's bitch ass contact, bro. It's not contact.
You're not man. I saw him do that somebody made a whole highlight from the one game when he played against the Nets, and it was just like, and that's how he ended up getting hurt.
That was one game.
That was one game. I just like, I just want the man healthy for the course of the playoffs, just to see what he can do and just be dominant. That's all.
No, I'm with you, man. He was 4 for 9, 15 points, 3 rebounds in 27 minutes. Celtics blew out the Sixers 121-87. Jesus. The last 2 games have just been brutal.
Yeah.
And Harden was awful as well. He went from having 45 points in one game to 12 points, 4 assists, and the next 0 for 6 from 3, 2 for 14 from the floor. And it's exactly what all hardened doubters you're talking about with James Harden. It's like, yeah, he might give you a 45-point game, but it's the playoffs and he's going to give you a stinker or two, which he did. So, and that's the reason why I chose the Celtics, because I don't trust the Sixers to be consistent. It wouldn't surprise me if the Sixers win game 3. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they go up 2-1, but I do expect Boston to at least win one of these games in Philadelphia. Okay. I don't think the Sixers are winning both. And this, like I said, the Celtics are just a matchup nightmare for the Sixers in my mind anyway. The Celtics are hitting their threes and not turning the ball over. It's the reason why they lost game 1 is because they turned the ball over so much. And granted, their defense was putrid as well, but I just think the Celtics are a nightmare matchup for the Sixers, and they need superhero performances from Embiid and possibly Harden at the same time if they have any chance in the series.
Agree.
All right. Second game of the night is going to be the Nuggets and the Suns. The Nuggets look to take a 3-0 lead. Kind of surprising, but kind of not, if that makes any sense. On this podcast, I was saying I was leaning Nuggets in 7. My official pick was Suns in 6 because I backed out and I overthought it. I had the Suns going into the finals when the playoffs started, and I guess I kind of wanted to ride or die with that. Now I feel stupid for taking the Suns because the Nuggets are obviously the better team. I don't think it's because they're deeper. I just think it's because they play together better, if that makes any sense. Now with Chris Paul,
continuity.
They're just like a unit. They're like one unit and Jokic is the ultimate team player and he's your best player. When you have that, it's easy to play together. But Chris Paul's out for game 3. I don't think that's something to be downplayed, Kwab. What do you think?
Well, in your opinion, how has Chris Paul played not even throughout the playoffs, even the first game? How did he look to you?
I think he's fine. I don't think it's a coincidence that they were up 8 when he got hurt, and then when he got hurt, the game totally changed. A lot of Chris Paul's value isn't necessarily in the stats or the box score. A lot of it is just getting his team in best position to score the basketball. When Chris Paul left and was out for the rest of the game, you just saw, yo, let's get the ball to KD, let him cook. Yo, let's get the ball to Booker, let him cook. And that's not a game plan. And I'm actually very disappointed in Monty Williams for not making any type of adjustment whatsoever against that defense. They were loading up on KD. They were loading up on Booker. And all it was just, give him the ball and let's dance around and see if we can make something happen. Nikola Jokic is awful in the pick and roll. Teams all year, when they put Jokic in the pick and roll, they get whatever they want, including the Suns when they did it a few times in game 2. How they aren't hunting him is beyond me. I know he's guarding Josh Okogie sometimes, and Okigie's in the corner, and you may not want him as the roller, but the Nuggets are switching on off-ball screens, which means that you can set a screen on Jokic with Ayton, and Jokic will switch on to Ayton. When that happens, then you bring Jokic's ass up to the perimeter, and then you run the pick and roll with Ayton, and you make something happen. Devin Booker is very capable as a ball handler for doing this, even though Chris Paul is out. You have to put some type of wrinkle in there. You can't just keep giving Devin Booker the ball and Kevin Durant the ball and just expect talent to take over, especially when the Nuggets are just overloading and soft doubling these guys, really, and just daring Josh Okogie to beat them. Monty has to make this adjustment, because if he does not make this adjustment, the Suns are not winning a single game in this series.
Damn, it's not a single game. Damn,
not a game.
The Nuggets struggle with rim pressure, so teams that can attack the rim and finish at the rim. Because as good as Jokic is, he's not really like a vertical shot blocker like Anthony Davis. The Suns live off the mid range.
Yes, they do.
They live off the mid range. Like, that's a layup to them. Like, a KD swing through a stop into the free throw line and pulling. It's a layup for him. Same with Devin Booker. Even though Devin Booker has been attacking the rim in certain instances and he's seen success, the big issue to me is like they're going to get tired. Because it's like you said, it's so much KD, Devin Booker, Cook, and they're not getting any consistent contributions from the bench and from the other players. Now, the starting lineup going into the next game is probably going to be, if it's not campaign a point, they might put Devin Booker a point and start Josh Okogie and Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
Which will allow them defensively, I guess they could switch everything apart from Jokic. They could switch everything on the perimeter, which would be beneficial to them. But with Aaron Gordon guarding KD, he's making them work on both ends of the court, which you can't stop KD, but he's making them work. So for the course of the game, it's hard to still have, like, if you're doing all this, because looking at the stats, like KD was scoring, assisting, like he's blocking shots, rebounding. That's a lot to put on a player. And they're putting on the two top players. That's a lot. And then when you look at the Nuggets side, they just have so many. They have different players that are coming in and help. Like Christian Brown comes off the bench and puts in effective minutes. Bruce Brown puts in effective minutes. Jeff Green is still dunking on people at 85. I still don't know how he does.
I don't know how he does either, man.
Yeah, like so they it feels like their Nuggets are just rolling and they look better. I don't know if the Nuggets are gonna go win both games on the Phoenix court. They might get one, but it's looking like the Nuggets are the better team and should win this series moving forward.
No, I agree, and it all depends on adjustments that Monty makes. Like I said, he has to figure something out on offense. It doesn't have to be what I said with the pick and roll, but it has to be something, because you can't just give the ball ISO to Booker and Durant and expect them to carry you throughout the whole freaking game. And you might laugh at this, but like you have TJ Warren on your bench. You have Terrence Ross on your bench. Like, these guys, their whole career, put the ball in the hoop. I know they're not what they used to be. I know they're not in their prime, but it's not like these guys are scrubs.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like there's like a level of trust there where he doesn't play them, which I was so confused about. Cause I'm like, you have Terrence Ross, who's more of a floor spacer. You have you have players like that can maybe alleviate the pressure that KD and Booker are gonna have to see throughout the course of the series. Also, Ayton has to play with more force and has to play better. I feel like
that is very true. Yeah,
and has to stay out of foul trouble. He has to try and stay out of foul trouble, because it feels like even the last game he was playing decently, got in foul trouble. They came in with Bismack Biyombo and Jacques Landale, and it didn't go well for them.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think they need to attack Jokic, get him in the pick and roll, go at him, maybe get him in foul trouble, because the Nuggets without Jokic all year struggled.
Yeah.
They've actually been doing fine in this series, and actually, for the most part, for the playoffs when Jokic has been out, which is not what I expected. But, you might be able to start that trend over again where Jokic, being out on the bench is bad news for the Nuggets. I don't know, man. I think there are adjustments to be made, but it's not looking not looking good because in my mind, the Nuggets look like the better team.
I was gonna say one last thing. I think it looked kind of crazy that for the Nuggets to still pull off this victory with how bad Jamal Murray played for like the first 3 quarters or whatever it is for the game, and they still were able to pull off this victory. So that doesn't look good for the Suns moving forward.
Nah, it looks bad. Looks really bad. Let's move on to the last series, the final series. Game 3 on Saturday in Miami.
Heat culture
for the series. One game apiece against the backups of Miami. What you know about that? Julius Randle and your New York Knicks.
Gabe Vincent about to give y'all 50, bro. It's gonna be crazy.
When I tell you that was the most frustrating victory I think I've ever had as a Knicks fan. I don't know what's going on. Maybe because the Knicks are really good, and it's the first time the Knicks have been this good in a long time. Like my fandom is coming back. You know, as I've gotten older, I've gotten less attached to all my favorite teams. Like I don't really care if the Yankees win or lose. I don't really care if the Giants win or lose. For some reason, the Knicks still got a little bit of my heart. And I was in bed with a swollen ankle, watching the Knicks just like, it wasn't like they were getting smacked. It was just like every time they tied the game or got within 2, like Gabe Vincent would hit like a 3 from 30 feet, or Max Strus would hit a 3. Like it was just like the most annoying victory I think I've ever seen as a Knicks fan, which is a wild thing to say as a Knicks fan. Like I'm complaining about a win. I'm complaining about a playoff win.
It didn't feel good as a win. It didn't feel good as a win.
The audacity to complain about a playoff win. What? But as I thought about it more going to game 3, if Jimmy plays, I just hope Jimmy plays. I hope Julius plays. I hope it's like, all right, let's get down to business. To me, that 1-3-1 zone that Spoelstra's playing might be the only thing they have against the Knicks. I don't know what they can do if the Knicks figure that out. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with the Knicks if the Knicks figure that out. On top of that, I will say this. Tom Thibodeau has to make some type of adjustment on the defensive end. You cannot have Gabe Vincent shooting open threes. You cannot have Max Strus shooting open threes. You cannot overhelp on the paint in the way that you've been overhelping on the paint all year. This Heat team has been the hottest shooting team from 3 since the playoffs started. Duncan Robinson's now getting burned. He wasn't getting burned in the regular season. Now he's getting burned, and you know what he can do. They need to stop overhelping in the paint. They need to stop giving up open threes. This drop coverage, they don't always do it well. So Gabe Vincent's coming off of a screen and stepping straight into a 3. Stop it. You have the guards to switch. You have Quentin Grimes. You have Emmanuel Quickly. You have Josh Hart. You can play lineups, or even RJ Barrett. You can play lineups where you can switch on the perimeter. Let's stop with the stubborn shit. Tom, stop, because this will lose you the series. You get that under control, the Heat can't beat you. I'm sorry, they can't. Their offense has been putrid all season. This is the only way they can beat the Knicks, is if they continue to be hot from 3. This is it. Cut that off. Cut it right now at the neck, and it's over. It's over.
I wish the game was. I wish the game was like on right now, just so.
I'm just sick of watching Knicks overhelp on everything. It's crazy. But I had this one friend. I'm not going to say his name. But I had this one friend who like grew up like, and we played. So in my home friends, I have friends I grew up with. I have college friends. Kwab is a college friend. I'm talking about home.
Okay.
I have this one friend who every effing time someone got the ball on the perimeter, he would just double. Like, it was like, dude, why are you leaving your man? Stop. You're leaving everyone open. I got this. Yeah, or like he would just double like he didn't play organized basketball. So he didn't like really know defensive concepts. And I would try to tell him, like, yo, if you can't just like go to the ball. It reminds me of that, except like when it gets into the paint, because the Knicks just everybody just collapses. And I get it. Like, you want to protect the rim, but you have Mitchell Robinson. That's his job. He's one of the best rim protectors apparently in the league. Let him do his thing.
Apparently in the league. Wait, I mean, do I know this friend, by the way?
What? Yeah, you know for sure.
Okay. I wonder who I'm thinking about. Okay, cool.
He's a good shooter. He's a really good shooter.
Obviously. Yeah. Obviously.
He's a great. So you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about. I know. That's why.
Nuts.
That's what I figured it was, because
there
was the first time I ever played a game with him. He did the same thing. I was just like, bro, I'm good. Like, what are you? Why are you here?
He would just show up like,
What?
What are you doing?
What are you doing, bro? I'm good. I'm good here. I'm
But
good
that's
here.
what it reminds me of. And it's like, man, we gotta stop. We gotta stop over helping. I know it's kind of like a defensive philosophy with Thibodeau to do in the paint, but when a team is killing you on the 3-point line like that, you can't continue to do that. You have to make the adjustment. So I'm hoping Thibs makes the adjustment. Guard switch on the perimeters, not so much drop coverage, not so much help at the rim. And if they figure out a way to attack that 1-3-1 zone, my personal preference is to cut it out with this Mitchell Robinson setting a screen at the top of the zone. You're going to set a screen for Jalen Brunson at the top of the zone so he can come off the screen into 3 people? Like, and then where's Mitch going to roll? So it's like, what are we doing? I understand you're setting a screen for him to get to another level where he can kind of break it down, but to me, it's just more effective to stick Julius Randle right there in one of the soft spots, have him catch, turn, and make a decision with the basketball. So we'll see. I don't know. I still like the Knicks a lot in this series. The more I think about it, the more I feel like the Heat are still playing over their heads. It just takes a couple adjustments, and once those adjustments are made, the Knicks are going to win the series. Kwab, go at it.
You guys have been getting outcoached,
Yes.
outshot,
Yep.
and out role playered.
Role player.
Out role playered. Out role player. Look, every time everybody used to be like, "Oh, Heat culture," I'd be like, "Shut up!" Like, it's not. I'm watching this. I'm like, I get it, bro. Like, I'm watching Haywood Highsmith like come off the bench and hit a couple threes and defend. I'm like, and they're like, yeah, the Division 2 player. I'm like, wait, how? Why don't they like drafting guys? First of all, they just find these players like, hey, you're good, and just develop them, and it works out. But I think that even if the Knicks are able to figure out the zone, the Heat's main objective is to get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands, get the ball out of Randall's hands, and force somebody else to beat them.
Yeah.
RJ Barrett has been stepping up.
He has.
The last game, you guys needed Josh Hart stepped up and hit a couple of open shots. There are times he gets open shots, you can tell he thinks about it and tries to make the right play and move on.
Yeah.
Game 1, it was Obi Toppin was open so many times. He felt like he had to take those shots.
11 threes.
And they were all open. They weren't contested through. And if you really think about it, those were open practice shots. And I think he was 4 for 11.
Yeah, he was okay.
That's okay for if it was like if that person was known as a shooter, you'd be like, okay, yeah, he was 4 for 11. But because it was Obi Toppin taking those threes at the time he was taking those threes, it felt like, yo, stop, stop shooting. I want to say it on paper. You say the Knicks are the better team on paper. Watching the 2 games, it felt like the Heat are the better team, and it felt like the Heat lost because Jimmy Butler didn't play, which is like the asterisk.
I make an argument for game 1 though. I mean, the Knicks looked the better team for a lot of that game until they didn't, and they didn't have their best player.
But but the first game, I was just waiting for the Heat to win, just like they did against Milwaukee.
Man,
and that it really felt, because in your opinion, right, going into that, you were probably thinking like you're gonna blow out. They're gonna not blow out, but they're gonna handily beat the Heat in game 1. You felt that way.
I thought it'd be like a game up until like 4 minutes in the fourth, and the Knicks will pull away or something.
The Knicks will pull away or like make a run, but
they were up by like 15 in the first half.
And to the Heat, it was just like, whatever. Like, we're just gonna come back.
Then Kevin Love started throwing touchdown passes
with ease. The Knicks need their role players to step up and be consistent.
I agree with that.
And that's Isaiah Hartenstein stepped up last game. IQ needs to be more consistent. He had a couple of good plays. I would love an
IQ game, man. Please, can I have an IQ game?
It's needed.
Please.
It's needed. For them to win is very much needed.
Game where he has like 4 threes, he goes off like 24 points. Like, I miss IQ. I don't even it's not even coming from a standpoint where I'm disappointed in him. It's not even coming from a standpoint where I'm mad at him. It just comes from a standpoint, yo, I miss you, bro. I miss the IQ coming off the screen and hitting the 3. I miss that energy. I miss that youthful energy. And I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it.
We're going to get it. Also, you feel like okay. Look, man, it's hard to bet against Heat culture, bro. You got
Oh, it's easy. Watch, I'm gonna do it right now. Where's my phone?
Don't do it. Don't, my brother. Don't do it. Don't do it. They got my brother. Don't do it. They have.
You still have the Heat in the series?
What do I have? Heat and what? Heat and 6?
6, yeah.
Heat and 6. Yeah, that's still doable. I mean, look, the Heat have the thickest point guard in the league. You know what I mean? You got to respect that.
I didn't account for thickness.
Yeah, I mean, you got to always account for that. That's you know what I mean, I can respect that. Yeah, I think at the end of the Miami, it should be 2-2. I feel like it should be 2-2. I feel like the Knicks could get one. I'll be shocked if they get both. I would be shocked if they get both.
I won't be shocked if either team got both at this point.
I'll be more shocked if the Knicks get both. Because that means that the Knicks wins Miami. We're disciplined and focused. Wearing out in South Beach after, like, if they get one, wearing like wilding out in Miami after a win or something. Like,
the Knicks are faithful individuals, man. They're hardworking. You think Thibs can let them go out in Miami? Are you crazy?
They don't. You know what?
They have roll call at 11 o'clock at night.
You think that people don't be coming in the hotel rooms? You really want to talk about what happens on the roads of the NBA?
Not on the Thibs' watch.
Not on Thibs' watch. You think?
Yo, Thibs hides under the beds. He's under Obi Toppin's bed, making sure he's not out in South Beach.
Thibs is not worried about Obi Toppin. Let's be.
Who's he worried about?
Thibs not worried about Obi Toppin.
He hides under the beds. He makes sure they're in bed by 10:30. No one's going out in South Beach. This is a business trip, Kwab. This is a business trip.
We'll see. We'll see after Saturday, man.
I think the Knicks win Game 3. I think Game 3 prediction. Who do you got? Just Game 3.
Heat.
I got the Knicks.
Heat. Okay.
All right, we continue to fight on this podcast. Yeah, we had to get a quick show in, just to break the fourth wall. Kwab and I did an episode 2. Oh my God, I can't even imagine this is the case again. Kwab and I did an episode 2 days ago, and then when I went to edit it, my audio was fucked up and messed up, so didn't release it. But we had to bring this episode to you, Kwab. Once again, thanks for. Now I'm like scared, bro.
You're worried.
Oh
it's not gonna. Oh my gosh.
Okay. It's saying it's connected to my. All right. We'll see. We'll see how it sounds. Kwab, thanks for joining me once again. I know you have to get up early tomorrow, so if you're a fan of the Dime and you're not following us on social media, make sure you do so on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube at the Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He is Kwab at Kwab, aka Yes. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in a couple of days to review, I guess, the weekend slate of games. By then, we'll probably be heading into Game 5s of the world. So, with a clearer picture of what's going on. But until then, rejoice that it's the NBA playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.